You're polite. How's things
Oh,
then?
no.
Been busy?
Oh, mate, ridiculous. I don't know if you've heard, like, but my situation changed. So I'm not married anymore now. Got divorced and that.
No.
Not my choice, obviously. It just is what it is. Because when I come out, mate, my head was all over the place stinging it. I'm trying to get this fucking sorted. Is that better?
It's fine, mate. Yeah, it's fine.
Right,
As long as
so
you're comfortable.
yeah, mate. Yeah. So basically, yeah, when they I got posted to Lehman in the end, mate. I was on what's it called? Night, yes, you. Um, I was writing training programs and stuff, and they were just taking too much, like too much at risk, and I just blew me top. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, with me, you know, having I don't know, every time I see it go on operations, it all goes tits up when I'm there. Don't know why. So, um, mate, I'll be brutally honest with you. I completely ostracized myself from everybody in the regiment.
Yeah, I was similar, to be fair. Not obviously different reasons and whatnot, but I kind of cut myself off from everyone when I left.
Mate, I'll be brutally honest with you. I thought I was a cunt. I thought everybody, and I'll be genuine. Just because of everything like that, I didn't ask for it to happen. Do you know what I mean? It just happened, and
Mm,
I didn't ask for that medal. I didn't ask for anything. And I wasn't.
wow.
I don't give a fuck what anyone says, but I wasn't that guy that walks around going, "I've got this and I've got that." Never did I do that. You know what I mean? But everybody made out I
No.
was, and the lads that know me know that.
I mean, I was going to say, Dave, like I never had that. Like when I was around you, I know it weren't long after, I got out really. So, but
I
whenever
mean,
I was around you or around people, it was never a thing like that.
I just tried to be the best I could be for my blokes, and I expect my blokes as I
Yeah.
treat my own kids. Do you know what I mean? Because they're going through it just as much as I am. You know what I mean? And it was trying to make it better
Mm.
for them. I mean, hey, mate, how nice was it to see Stino? I mean, I ain't seen that lad for ages. You know what I mean? How nice was that? It was just,
Well, it's weird because like he's one of the few that I did keep in touch with since I left. Like, and he's as mad now as he ever
hey,
as he ever
Stino,
was.
Stino, you know what I mean?
I'm going to Athens with him in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. Mate, I fucked up big
Yeah,
time when
yeah.
I
So,
got out, mate. I hid myself away that much. I was meant to be at Stu's wedding and that, and
oh yeah.
mate,
I
I
fucked
just,
up on that. To be fair, it's one of those, isn't it, mate? We all interpret things different, don't we? And we all deal with things differently. And at that time, that's what you thought you needed to do. And just doing this now, I'm pretty sure this will help you now. Just having a chat here, like
and I hope so. I mean, I just want to, like, there's so many questions I've got, and there's so many things that I don't, if you could look back in that, I'd try and change it. But when I thought about it, I'm thinking, why should I? Do you know what I mean? Because I never came across as an
you didn't.
arrogant wanker. Never, never. But yet I was made out to be. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't by you lads. It was by other people, i.e. hierarchy or people of my what would you say, like rank and position. And it was, and I say it now, I couldn't give a shit what anyone says. I think they were just jealous at the fact that I'd got something, and you know, it had to be me, didn't it?
I know, Dave. Yeah, from that time though, like, and after that tour, there's a lot of lads that were struggling with the hierarchy because of them reasons, basically. Because as shit as it was, we experienced things that people with longer
Oh
careers
mate,
didn't, and
oh mate,
there
mate.
was a lot of
Honestly,
resentment for us from that. But you'll know from that time, like the retention for people at that point was shit. I mean, it's probably
well, you
worse
can't
now,
keep
but
them in.
at
I
that
mean,
time, no. Well, this is it. But it was because of the attitudes from people higher up.
I, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely, 1,000,000%. Because I think for the first time, the regiment had been involved in kinetic warfare, and real kinetic stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like Greenham Common or out like that. It was like full on kinetic warfare. You know what I mean? And the fact that 34, one squadron, I mean, mate, we constantly got smashed. I mean, you imagine, you think about how often we were out on ops. I mean, we'd come home after 6 months, sometimes 7.5, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you get home, you have like 2 weeks, 3 weeks off, decompression, and then you're back in and suddenly, oh, we've got another job and we've got to go over here. And you're like, well, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? But it was always the same faces as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was relentless. It was, and that played its part in me getting out. I know you had, fucking 20 odd year career, like, and
Well, I mean, I,
glutton
I,
for
I done
punishment, but
24 in the end, but I was medically
yeah,
discharged. And I mean, I'm going through a court case at the moment with the MOD because when I got medically discharged, I got medically discharged with obviously the injuries that I got when I was out in Afghan when I snapped my knee and everything. And obviously then that's caused dramas and that's gone on and on and on. And then when obviously I got back, we were out doing some bits and bobs and my knee just completely went there. He ended up taking a couple of millimeters off my left leg to make it so I could walk properly. Do you know what I mean? So I had a femoral distal osteotomy. And that was the final straw. That's what they. But then when I got my actual discharge paperwork, it had PTSD, CPTSD written all over it, and I couldn't understand because I'd never been. That the only time I actually got diagnosed with it is when we come back from Iraq, mate. And that was, you know what I mean. And that was like
yeah,
2007, the end of 2007.
yeah,
And then I went into the med centre again in 2010. I don't know if you remember that I was on one squadron at the time and Ted passed, you know, and I was literally stood from me to that doorway when his vehicle went up, like, you know what I mean? So I saw I was doing my 5s and 20s, mate, literally. And as I look up, this fucking Pinzagauer takes off into the sky, you know, and it was just fucking one thing after another. And I know that happened to Richie and Rob as well
yeah,
when they went to Kandahar. And I speak to Richie quite a bit, you know, Richie and me. I mean, he's always my Paul
yeah.
Robinson, do you know what I mean? Oh, but well, he looks like
Yeah, I
Paul
mean, you,
Robinson,
you
the
listen,
goalkeeper.
I don't see it, but we'll agree
No,
to disagree.
honestly, I'll send you a picture after this and you have a look. It's my Paul Robinson, I tell you.
I know who Paul Robinson is. I know who Paul Robinson is,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I'm sure you know who Spurs are now. We're fucking shy.
oh fucking hell, man! I know. They're going down, aren't they? They've got
No,
to.
they're not. Shut your face. We've still got time.
Well, by the time this goes out, you could be in the championship. So,
Okay, all right, no bed.
yeah. Listen, you beat us in the final last year, so it's the only pleasure I can get from it. So, you know.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, anyway, right. So let's get started properly then, right? So
yeah, so
I
mate.
took a bit of time. Obviously, I've done a bit of research and whatnot, and I've seen the interviews and stuff like that. And we'll come on to that after. But I put a little bit of a thing together just as an intro for you. So I'll read it out, and you
Yeah, I
might
mean,
blush, you might
like,
say,
do you know what,
"What the fuck
Mandy?
is
I'll
that?"
be
But
brutally honest, mate. I'll be brutally honest, mate. I've wanted to do this and actually be able to, and like, I've got a book coming out. That's in the process of being written at the moment, by a bloke over in America. Fucking mental, mate. Some of the shit I've done since I've left, but um, yeah, and I was going to start a podcast, but I just didn't have the fucking bottle, like, you know what I mean? But you know, if you want to do anything else than that, give us a holler because at the end of the day, um, it,
yeah, I mean, it's like I said to you in a message. If ever you needed any help, just to get it, any help at all with it, getting a program for it or anything like that, I'm happy to help you.
yeah,
Um,
mate. I mean, like,
and
um,
this might just help in terms of making you feel comfortable in it and stuff like that because
well,
it
that's it,
can be
mate.
it can be awkward, can't it? It can feel awkward.
Oh yeah, oh for sure, mate. Because you don't know what to and what not to say, but then you forget. Obviously, I'm fucking old now, me, mate. I'm 47. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, you're young whippersnappers and you know how to edit stuff and that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you
I
forget
don't
that.
know. I'm
I,
42 myself, Dave.
You don't look it, man.
Ah, cheers. Appreciate it.
So, but
But
yeah,
no, I
no,
know what you
far
mean. I
away.
know what you mean. I mean, yeah, I work like I'm familiar with all this shit. So yeah, but like I say, if ever you needed any help with anything, I'm always happy to help.
Cheers, bro.
So yeah, anyway, let's get this started. So
Yeah, man.
like I said, I've done a little intro for you, based on some of the info I took from you. So just I hope you enjoy it. I wrote it down, and here we go. So born in Germany, but in his own words, bleeds red, white, and blue. Navigated his way through boys' school and Borstal, which I can relate to. In '97, he joined the RF Regiment when the world felt or seemed a bit calmer. 24 years and 7 tours later, his time was up. He'd seen more than most people could imagine, earned a military cross, which he'll never brag about, and carried the weight of things that most people will never fully understand. Life knocked him on his arse to the darkest of places, but he's rebuilding. Not quietly, probably not perfectly, but honestly. Um, I understand that these days you're more likely to find him carrying golf bags and rifles, enjoying life on the greens as a caddy, giving advice as a man who's seen much worse than a missed putt. Um, I was going to put he's got a new podcast coming out, but we'll see about that. And there's a new chapter unfolding with his new book that he's just talked about. This is a man who's lived through tough times and somehow still manages to laugh about a lot of them. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Hayden.
Yeah, yeah, sound that.
So again, yeah, cheers for coming on, mate. Like I say, it is appreciated.
Yeah, you might want
Apologies
to
if
put
my
number
voice is a
one in
bit
front of that
raspy.
7, by the way.
What, 17 tours?
Yes, mate.
You did 17 tours?
So I've done Iraq.
Holy shit!
I've done
Holy shit!
so Ali Al Salam. I've done 3 times. I've done the Basra 5 times.
Yeah.
I've done
Holy
Afghan
shit!
4 times. I've done Nigeria twice. I've done
What?
Estonia twice. Where else? And
I stand corrected.
Mombasa. Uh, fucking hell, where was that other
Jesus.
one? Oh, mate, yeah. It was not, mate, more like 14, 15 tours, mate, not 7.
Right. But
I wish.
yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I
I
got
was
that from
over
somewhere. Christ knows
3,000
where. I
days
can't remember now.
LSSA. I was over
Jesus.
3,000 days on the LSA.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's immense in it. To be fair, but yeah, like I say, I stand corrected, mate. Like I say, I apologise if my voice is a bit raspy. I've had a
Oh,
cold
me
all week,
too, mate.
so
Me too, mate.
yeah, dealing with that. Dealing with that. I also, yeah. Anyway, right. So yeah, let's get started. So, as I mentioned, we'll start from the beginning. I did touch on it. You were born in Germany.
I was, yeah.
So do you remember anything about that, or how were your early years in and around that time?
Yeah, it's kind of mad, like really. I can remember quite far back. It's a bit of a weird one. Um, I mean, like so. I started off. My old man was in the military. He left as a WO1. He went army tankies. Um, and obviously I followed him around in Germany, England, all over. And I was born in Paderborn. I don't really remember much about my younger years, but it was more so the sort of latter period where I was about 9. You know what I mean? Because that's when my dad went to Iraq for Op Granby, I think it was called it back then. And it
Yeah,
it kind of, I suppose, it all kind of started to go wrong when my mum wasn't. Me, God bless her soul now. I mean, my mum, my dad, my nan, my granddad, my auntie, my uncle, they've all gone. It's just me and my brother. We're the only 2 left out of our entire family. And he lives out in France, and I live back in the UK a lot. So it's, it's growing up, it's a bit of a crazy one. But like I say, when I was about 9 years old, it started all going wrong because um, my brother came about. He was becoming of an age, and it wasn't about it. When he was born, it was like I was pushed to the side. You know what I mean? And my mum wasn't the nicest. Like I say, she used to do stuff to us, and she had a thing that she used to whack us with, etc., etc. Um, and you kind of, to me back then, it were like, oh well, obviously this is what happens. You know what I mean? If you're wrong, but clearly it isn't now when you look back. But and I started rebelling. And because I was a big lad, because I was quite handy, um, it kind of went my way a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And it got to the point where I got kicked out of mainstream school. No schools in the UK would entertain me. No mainstream school, and I got put into a place in Oxfordshire, and it was like it was a school for nutters, man. You know what I mean? And I grew up fast. I mean, the first day I got there, I had some big long-haired lunatic from Coventry give me a filling and fill my mouth full of grass to let me know. You know what I mean? Like
Jesus.
fucking fuck about, mate. You're gonna get a clip. You know what I mean? So, but I think that's where I learned a lot. You know, because I was now a little fish in a big pond. You know what I mean? And you quickly learn the pecking order. You quickly learn like the hierarchy. Very much like the military. Um, but in a bit of a harsher way. I mean, when I was at school, I saw blokes hands getting chopped off with a fucking axe and shit like that. But that's the way it was back then.
Fucking hell, yeah.
You know, it's
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the way it was everywhere.
well, maybe no, but and then well, a lot of people know this. There was a female care worker that took their liking to us, and I was about 14, 15, and yeah, so I learned quite young as well. Is what it is, you know. It's everybody says like dead wrong that, and I'm like, fucking do one. I'm 14. I'm getting amongst it. You know what I mean? But looking back now,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, it's not right, is it? It's wrong. But yeah, and then I finally get to go home when I was like 16, nearly 17, and because of where I'd been and because of the people I'd been around, obviously I was a lot more street forward than a lot of the people that were in my town. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was easy for me
Where was
to.
that, Dave?
That was in Lincolnshire, a place called Spalding. That's where my mum and dad settled down. Um,
Right.
and yeah, no, I quickly got in with the right and the wrong crowd. I've still got mates back there that I mean, I only talk to two lads back in Spalding. Chad Sharman will always be like, he's like one of them that, you know, when you pick up, it's like Stu. I haven't spoken to Stu for about 6, 7 years, but we still text each other near enough every day. But I'm still struggling now to be able to talk to Stu because I don't know what to say. I'm scared because
Mm.
I feel like I've let my best mate down. And he was my fucking. I mean, we went to Ireland together. We got promoted together. You know, we came to one together, and we got into the right states together. And it's like, yeah, I still feel ashamed to ring my best mate, and it's mad still to this day. Um,
Do you
but
think?
yeah,
Do you think
no,
you could? I was going to say, just like touching on that. Do you think you could just overcome that in time, or because, like you say, he was a big part of your life, wasn't he, Stu? So,
mate,
and it is a big part of your life still.
Stu
It's
is a big part of my life. I love him to bits, and I'd die for him. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's. I don't know why, but I mean, I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. Like, oh, he's like, you
that's what
know,
you mean,
some of
though.
the
It
shit.
is a big part of your life, isn't it? And
He is,
you
yeah.
kind of your
I mean,
struggles
when that
are
rocket,
taking that
when
away
that
from you.
when that rocket hit that room, mate. I remember saying to Lashy, "Have you seen Stu?" Because obviously, I I was in the car park, and Lashy said, "Yeah, he's looking for you," and he's walking through all that wreckage shouting, "Dave!" Like, you know. And I remember shit like that because
Mm,
you do, don't you?
yeah, yeah,
And I love him,
absolutely,
and I
yeah.
love his missus, I love his kids. You know, I'm so gutted that his mum went and everything else, and I wish I could have been there when his mum did go. Um, but I just feel like I've let him down.
Well,
I don't know, and he
I
says,
speak to Stu, and I'll tell you something. You haven't let him down, and he still speaks fondly of you as well. So you know, you certainly haven't let him down. And I know it might seem like nothing, but I hope coming from someone else from the outside, you can maybe hear that and understand that. You know, because he'll
yeah,
tell you that a million times, won't he? Like, there's times where I've felt the same, like on his stag do. I was supposed to go to that, but there was a misunderstanding. I ended up fucking it up, and I ended up not going. And I regret that because Stu was one of my best mates as well. So I kind of get
I
that
miss the fucking,
disappointment, letting people down, all that kind of.
I
Yeah,
miss that
I miss him as
bass.
well. Yeah, I do. I just miss it because I've got a million stories similarly to you with him,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's a shame that kind of things fall by the wayside.
I mean, it's like it's mad when
But
you
I
think
know for a
about it.
fact, mate, you haven't let him down.
It's mad when you think about it because when I look back at my career and I look at the lads that I'm the most fondest of, um, and I could probably pull maybe 6 names, that made a real impact on me, and people that I would have followed I'd have followed to death. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I will never, ever, ever want to change any part of being a commander because I had some right lads under me. Some of the bonds
yeah,
that I held, which I probably still have now. But it's trying to get over that. I just got made to feel like I was always on guard. I was always watching me back. I was always looking over my shoulder because the day I got that medal, my world changed. Um,
yeah.
and it changed to the worse, I think, because I
I
become a
think it's a
figure
shame
11.
that you have to deal with it. So sorry, mate. I was just going to say that I think it's a shame that you kind of had to deal with all that on your own for so long, and like you say, you held all that in, didn't you, a lot of the time, and
Well, I couldn't show it, could I? I mean,
obviously,
I
no,
remember.
I know. This is what we are. We're all big and hard and all that kind of shit, and we hold everything in, and
I mean,
it's
I don't
something
know
in the
if the
military
lads
that
know this. I don't know if the lads know this, but when I actually got back, and I got obviously told, um, they'd already posted me. So I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware that this was coming. You know what I mean? And when I got back, they took me off the squadron. That it wasn't a posting I asked for. It
Mm,
wasn't a posting I should have had. But and I couldn't understand why I got posted when I got back to training week. Uh, and I swear to God, if I'd have stayed on the squadron, mate, life wouldn't have been like this. Life wouldn't have changed like that. But they took me off the squadron without telling me the reasons. Put me on training wing. Um, let me get bedded in. Let me get my life sorted, and then drop this on there, which then completely turns my world upside down because I've got people that want to, wheel me out for this show and that show, and they want to send me here, they want to send me there, and I'll never forget this moment, mate. And this is one moment again, like many others, that'll always stick in my head. And do you remember at the back of 159, you had the ramp,
mm-hmm,
and we used to back four
yeah,
tunnels, didn't we? When the lads were going on Amiga, you'd back them up, and then the lads would put all the Bergens on and everything else, and then they'd be ready, like with the old heli choppers, in the car park, and your section commanders will get on the back with you, all cammed up, all ready to go, and off we go on Amiga. Um, and I'll never forget it because it was the first time I was taking a bunch of lads um, that were mega. I saw boys become men in the period of sort of 6.5 months. And I felt proud at the fact that I was now taking these guys that my personal my personal investment has gone into for the past God knows how long. Um, and as I was climbing on the back of the 400 to go on Amiga, uh, Wolfie Smith, Group Captain Smith, I think his name was, he come running out the back of 159, shaking his hand to stop the 400. And Nobby Noble was obviously my sergeant at the time on Mike Taylor. And Nobby was like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? And the boss turned around and said to Nobby, he's Hayden on the back of that 400. And Nobby said, yeah, well, of course he is. He's going out with his blokes on Amiga for 2 weeks. Like, he's got this. And he went, no, he can't go. He says, what do you mean he can't go? He says, well, he can't go. I've had it from higher up. He can't go. He needs to be on station because we've got X and Y and they're visiting, the Royals are coming, blah, blah, blah. And I just looked at Nobby, right? And when I got off, and I said, are you actually for fucking real? You're telling me you're taking me out of my primary role to go and dance like a monkey in front of all these people, all because they decided to give me a bit of a fucking, a different medal. And I said, look, I can't do this no more. I said, my family are back in Leeming because they couldn't deal with it. You know, I was away every other weekend doing this, that, and the other. And I just said to Nobby, I'm done. I said, I'm done, Nobby. I don't want to be in the regiment no more. I said, I can't do this. I said, I'm not a show pony, and I told you. And he just said to me, he said, well, Dave, he said, go upstairs now with me. I'll take you to the wing commander and you can tell him, I want out. I'm going to sign my PVR and I'm going. And if that does work, then you can go wherever you want and get left alone. If it doesn't work, then you're out. And it was like one of them, what do I do? And just so I put my trust in Nobby because I trust him. Nobby Noble was a great character, he was a great bloke. You know, anybody that would ever speak ill of him, obviously, were a pinch of salt themselves. Um, so I believed in my sergeant like I should do as a full screw, you know what I mean? So I went upstairs and I
Yeah.
told him, I said, look, I'm done. I'm done. This can't carry on. Within 48 hours, mate, I was posted back to Lima.
Yeah, it sounds like you just passed around from pillar to post like a trophy. To be fair, like, and you have, like you say, your primary role, and then it's being taken away from you. Yeah, to do it in that circumstance as well, where you're still dealing with a load of shit, and you've got to put this face on for public, and all that kind of thing.
You
It's just a
become a
facade,
Jekyll and a
isn't it?
Hyde,
Like you say, yeah,
you know, and unfortunately for me, the Hyde bit coming out, sort of the Jekyll bit. Which one was the bad one? Can't remember. Anyway,
uh,
uh,
I think it
Jekyll
was
and Hyde.
Hyde the bad one.
Anyways,
Yeah,
Jekyll's too out. Everybody will laugh at that. Anyhow, yeah. Unfortunately, it was my kids and it was my family that kind of got the rough. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I couldn't afford to. I couldn't afford to take my eye off the ball because, mate, everything for us in the military, right? And I couldn't care what anyone said, right, about the RAF Reg. All right, the RAF Reg, well, you know, you cut me in half, and the core will pour out because they they they. Mate, I joined up when I was 17, 18. I left when I was 42. I spent more
yeah,
time in the military than I did in my whole life, you know. So for
yeah,
me, I was institutionalized,
yeah. It's everything, isn't it? Like you say.
and that's it.
So you
And I
say
think
that
that's
was after. That was after. Go on. Sorry. Go on.
no you. I don't think PTSD for me, the way we are as a military man, whether that be you're in the army, the air force, the navy, or whatever, right? You have that core belief and you have that core standard that you need to always stick to, and we learn that in quick succession because we get smashed for 6 months. You then go out onto the squadron. If you're lucky enough, you get a field gunners. So you actually got a bit of an heads up when you get to squadron. And if you haven't got that when you get to squadron, you're right in the devil's pit because you're expected just to get straight on and hit the ground running. But if you've never seen a GMG or an HMG or a, you know what I mean? It's like, well, so and I think that's how they do it, mate. It's because you're constantly on the go. Nothing ever stops. Even I mean, I like to think I was a decent senior that got rid of my lads when I could, right? Because there's no point keeping them around. There was no point making them sit in the fucking cage for 2 or 3 hours just while some idiot at the end of the corridor made his mind up about something. I'd just make something up and get rid of them. And I'd take it on the chin. But 9 times out of 10, the warrant officer knew what the crap was. And if you had a decent one, he was like, all for it. Um, but unfortunately, there was a lot of laser beams and who always pulled the sicky card or the I can't do that card when it comes to operations, and you know them. Everybody knows them. The rules it's there never ever went anywhere, and it was just they were the ones that were then making it difficult for us when we got back off hot, and it just kills you.
Vicious cycle. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're meant to be a team, aren't we, Mandy?
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know, if you think about
well,
how
that's
we
it.
all
That's
stuck
it, mate.
together, I mean, we
Yeah,
were
hundred
solid.
percent. Like say, yeah, I've spoke to people who've, after I left, and they had a lot of time after that, and they said like especially the core group that we had at that point. He said like they'd never experienced anything after it like this that was the same. Whether that was just a moment in time, I'm not too sure. But my experience of it was, that group of lads were rock solid, like you said. And then
Oh
whenever
mate, I
anything
mean,
came into, try and dismantle it, it was just like you just hated it, didn't you? So
well, we wouldn't allow it, and that was the thing. I mean, at
no,
the time, we were that solid as a squadron. I mean, you can say what you want about some of the hierarchy, but we all knew the crack. You know, Danny Daniels for sure ran that squadron. You know, Danny Daniels was all over it. I mean, he was probably. I mean, still to this day, I still think he was. You know, there's in my opinion, Danny ran the show on the fucking ground that day in our wacky. For me, um,
mm,
but you know, no one will ever say that. No one will ever like. What do you mean by that? Well, actually, if you sit back and you look at what actually happened, and then you look at the way we withdrew and everything else, well, Danny Daniel was pulling the strings and pulling. You know what I mean? But that's what you expect from someone like Danny. You know what I mean? And then you had Rob, who was in the thick of it with me. Um,
yeah.
I mean,
Like you
there's
say,
them that
there's a
have.
load of things that are all unheralded and stuff like that in it, and you don't hear everybody's story. Yours obviously a different case, but like you say, there's a load of things that go on that you never hear, and
I mean, mate, come
people
nine
who,
eleven, mate. Come 9/11, we were everywhere. We were all over the world, mate. I mean, I remember 34 Squadron being in two operational theatres at the same time. How did that go? You know what I mean?
Christ knows. I mean,
And it was a
you
case of,
think as well the size of the regiment, how the fuck do they manage it? Because only
and
tiny,
this
isn't
is
it?
what I
Really?
explain to people that they ain't got a clue, mate. They don't know what we do. They just see something that's been put on YouTube, and I mean, it's like anything, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's boring.
Right. So yeah, let's get back to your story then. All right. So yeah, we were talking about school and stuff, and you were getting
Yeah,
to the
so
point,
obviously I finished
16.
school. Straight out on a builder's site. Ended up being a ground worker, and then I was a labourer for a bricky, labourer for a plasterer. You know, so always in the thick of it. Yeah, around the Russians and all that. And I got mixed up with some people, and it was a case of join up or go to jail. I think it was like that for quite a lot of us, to be fair, at that time. Um, yeah.
I was going to say that because
Looking
like I had a point where I had no fucking clue what I was going to do, and I speak to a lot of people, and they're very similar. Like they've kind of gone down a path, whether it's lack of direction from parents or they're just generally getting into trouble or whatever. But people see the military as a route out or the best option. But it's like it's such a hard thing to just join join up and do, isn't it?
Well, it is,
So it
yeah.
makes
I
me
mean,
wonder, like, why? Yeah,
yeah, and you're absolutely
I'm just
right
saying. I'm just
because,
wondering, like, why do you think people are attracted to it so much? Like, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's a strange thing to contemplate, really.
well, I think for me, my old man played a big part of it because he was proper nifty, mate, every fucking day. Um, you know, 'cause he was ex-military and that. But I don't know, mate. For me, at the time, I was in a place where I had a better car than my old man. I was fucking 18 year old. Do you know what I mean? So I was in amongst it, and it wasn't. It was like that. I got to that crossroads. Do I go left or do I go right or do I go straight on? Um, I need.
Mm,
All I could see was if I go left, I'll be in jail. If I go right, I'm never going to enjoy it. What can I do that is different? And I think,
yeah.
like I say, there having my old man nick me head every fucking 2 minutes, etc. And I woke up one morning. I've been out the night before. I was in bed with some absolute onking bit of kit. And I just looked at her and I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? Big HBK line there. I thought, I'm done. So I went downstairs. I'll never forget it. My old man had this big leather blue couch, um, watching grandstand on a Saturday, and I said to him, "Here," I was like, "Do me a favour Monday." And he was like, "What?" I was like, and I chucked him my car keys, and I said, "You can have that." And he took me to the careers office. He nearly fell off his chair, honestly. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, and then obviously joining up. Um, yeah, it was a baptism of fire when I joined up. Yeah. But if I just say
Did you have any
this, let's just
expectations
say,
when you joined up? Like, go on.
um, expectations now.
As in, like,
Um,
did you ever expect 20 years or 24 years?
no, did I hell? I didn't think I'd last fucking 6 years, man. And I've done my best to get kicked out as well. um, I mean, mate, when I left basics, mate, and I'm not going to name them, but there was like, four corporals at the time, and all four corporals said to me, one of them being one sergeant that will always, always, always be in my mind, and that's Rob Williams. So I've named one of them. Uh, all of them told me the next time I saw them, they were going to batter me with a baseball bat. I'm not, and then you can imagine when I'm getting promoted to fucking full screw and told I'm posted from Northern Ireland back to the UK with Stu in the same car. We'd even, mate, me and Stu have got, anyhow, we I get to the squadron and I find out guess who my sergeant is, and he's not in the squadron. He wants to talk to me on my own in the block. Brilliant, Rob Williams, and I'm thinking, brilliant. I'll get the fucking head out of here. You know what I mean? But he said to me, I remember going into the office and then he sat me down and he just said, "Look, what the past is the past. Um, people change, people are different. Prove it to me." And I did.
So,
I think.
what was it that made him want to put a
Yeah, it was a
baseball
pure
bat?
cunt. I used to walk around fucking thinking I was fucking the bee's knees and that. You know what I mean? I mean, I went to two squadron when I got.
Yeah.
So basically, I passed out, went to two squadron, got kicked off two squadron for beating Worsley up. Uh, I got sent to Bryce Norton. No, Lynham. Then got in the shit for something to do with a hamster in a woman's block after midnight. So got posted from there. Uh, got posted back to got posted back to Hardington. Got put on 4,000 a one flight. Ended up sleeping with one of the lad's missus, which I didn't know at the time because she came out to me, not married, like Um, so ended up getting fucking filled in by somebody on fucking foot. Well, he tried. Um, and then yeah,
Tried.
well, mate, there was one lad that I was scared shit myself. Biff Bailey, Big Bailey, Biff, what a lad. Um, him and Scouse Brodigan. I remember that, and Scousley. All three of them were like man mountains. You know what I mean? Like Scouse was a swimmer,
Yeah, yeah.
so and Scousley and Bick were just fucking big fucking beasts. And yeah, I quickly learned. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't talk
No,
about.
I won't say
Uh,
you quickly learn. I won't say you quickly learn based on what you just said.
well, yeah,
Took a few things to
it's me,
learn.
innit? Uh, but yeah, no, mate, I'll be brutally honest. I think my world changed in the regiment, and I kind of I took my focus on off, uh, trying, trying to. I was bored, mate. That's all it was. Um,
Yeah.
when I got promoted and my dad died, I lost my dad in 2005. Um, I mean, he was only 49, you know what I mean? And I was in Ireland at the time. And obviously I was on my junior commander's course down in Brecon. I got a phone call saying like, and they flew me all the way back to that just to tell me dad was dying, to fly me all the way fucking back. Brilliant, nice one, well done you. Um, and then um, yeah, it was when I got promoted, mate. My world changed because I suddenly realised he ain't here no more to fucking bail me out of shit. You know what I mean? Um, and mine and his
Grounded you.
relationship, yeah, absolutely, 1,000,000%. And you know what? I've always struggled with empathy because of everything that I've been through. So you naturally look at the situation and think, well, that's fuck all that. You know what I mean? Um, but I suddenly realised that life will never be the same, you know, because he's not there no more. I couldn't rely on my mum because she was horrible. She hated me. Um, you know, physical, mental abuse. So I couldn't, and it's like, mate, it's hard when your dad goes, mate, because
Yeah.
you've got no one to talk to. You've got no one there to kind of reason your thinking. You know what I mean? Because you do. I'd like to think you do, and everybody does out there that I've got that. When you're at your lowest, mate, they're the ones you can go to. And he was never there throughout my whole life because obviously he was a military man, so he was always away. Um, and I had to grow up quickly because of stuff that had happened through my life. So yeah, but like I
Do you
say,
think
the
it
big
kind of
turning point.
shut you off from having empathy then? All them scenarios.
Yeah, I think so. For sure, because I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you kind of lose.
I get it because
You know, your fight or flight
it's
complex.
yeah.
I lost my flight. There was no flight. I didn't give a fuck. All it was about the job. That's all that mattered. And that's scary, mate, when you think about it. Scary. I mean, my world was
So
the job.
yeah, yeah. When you say you lost your flight, what do you mean?
Well, nothing was scary anymore. I couldn't give a toss. You know what I mean? I wasn't worried. Where if you have that kind of attitude, that's when it can all go wrong. You know what I mean? Because it's that no matter what, the job comes first, where it shouldn't really, because at the end of the day, it's lives we're paying with. And that's what people need to understand. It's not we're fucking about with a bit of fucking health and safety, or we're not fucking about, we're fucking about with real bullets, real rockets, real bombs, everything. Do you know what I mean? Uh, uh, and then to put yourself in the situation where you know is going to happen, you've got to kind of deal with that yourself. Especially when all them rockets are fucking landing. I mean, you didn't know your ass from your
Yeah.
elbow. You used to get your blanket hard, didn't you? Here we go. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean it was mad. Yeah, like you say, it was like a surreal thing, and you knew it was happening, but it didn't seem real in a weird sense.
But it didn't. It didn't.
You're aware. It was like I say, I've said it in the past. It was just a really weird situation to deal with, and then
Because you
obviously
kind of
when
accepted that fact that at any point you could be gone.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
accepted it
it's
to a point where you didn't even think about it anymore. And you were that
yeah,
focused
it's
and
fucking
that goal orientated. All that mattered was what they wanted us to do. Nothing else mattered. And that's when we come to that institution and that being institutionalized. Mate, we became a product that wouldn't say no. And if we did say no, the system would fight us so badly, we'd end up changing to say yes because we couldn't deal with that anymore. And it's just easier to say yes. And anyone that says that's wrong, I'll have an argument with them for hours and hours and hours. Because tell me a time you
yeah.
said no.
Well, no, I didn't. I mean, the only time I said no was when I PVR'd, and I'd had
And
enough, and
and you're taking
that's.
yourself
But
out of it because it wasn't going anywhere.
yeah, no, and I think the difference, like you said about being institutionalized, was I was 22 when I joined up, so I'd had a bit of life beforehand, so I'd seen what was on the outside rather than being too young to really experience anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you do go in so early and you do get institutionalized, it is everything, and I've seen that with other people, and you've touched on it there, and it does become
And, and
everything, and it is the be all and end all. And
and it's a fucking horrendous environment to be in when you go up the ranks. I mean,
I was going to say that, like, obviously,
the
how
best rank in the
how do you
regiment is corporal. Don't care what anyone said. Don't care what
Well,
anyone
my
says
question
because
was like, how do you navigate that? How do you navigate the changes of climbing the ranks? Like, did you have any
um,
experiences of
you kind of
friction
become a
or people
social.
who were your peers?
Yeah, I mean, you become a social chameleon at the end of the day. You know how to react when you're around the blokes. You know how to react when you're around seniors, and then you know how to react when you're around, the officers and stuff. So you naturally become a social chameleon. No matter what environment you go into, you can adapt to and be able to hold yourself in that environment as a senior NCO. And that becoming a senior NCO, that's what I learned more than anything, was being able to mix it with all the different types of groupings. Being a senior is very cutthroat. You've got people that are trying to get to warrant officer before their 16-year point because they want to hit a new record. But these are the guys that never went on operations, rode bikes around for charity, you know, poster boys, they'd go and do an op and then come back and say they were amazing and do this and that. And you were just like, mate, get a fucking grip. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there was a lot of them in our regiment. Armchair heroes, mate. Blokes that haven't done
Yeah,
anything, been anywhere. Mate, in my
but the
opinion,
face fit kind of thing.
yeah, absolutely. Because they said the right thing, or one of their mates was this bloke, or one of their mates was that bloke, you know. Um, and yeah, and there's a lot of tittle tattle. You know what I mean? A lot of fucking people making up their own version of events, and then uh, because they're the blue-eyed boy, or I don't know, they're sucking the wing commander off. Their version's the script. You know what I mean? And this is what we go with. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, mate, Mandy. Between me and you and the rest of the world that listen to this, there are some blokes that I'd love to meet down a dark alley still today. Oh, wouldn't I? Uh, Mate, queuing up.
I was going to say, I
You
don't
know,
think you're alone in that. To be fair, I think everyone's got one or two, haven't
uh,
they? So
I mean, th- there's, I genuinely, and this is where I'm at, right? When I think about my military career, when I think about, I don't care about where I've been, I don't care about what I've done, I don't care about what I've got. A lot of the time is, did my blokes enjoy having me as a commander? And that's all that mattered to me. If my blokes were happy, I couldn't give a fuck what the warrant officer said. I couldn't give a fuck what the other senior on
yeah,
C-Flight said. It's my flight, B flight, and if B flight aren't in the shit and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, I mean, 9 times out of 10, and I'll say this and I will say this, my lads were all over it, and whenever I needed something done, my lads did it because they knew the crap. You know what I mean? They knew I wasn't a fat, I wasn't a yes man, I wasn't a, you know what I mean? And I gave every single person an opportunity. I didn't, you know,
yeah.
he there's a lot of, and you know this, you can either nod or say it, it's up to you. But I think a lot of people got promoted because their mates were a full spoon or their mates were a sergeant. And that's there. Come on, you know.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with that at all. I mean, I don't know the politics as well as you, Dave, so I can't really say. But I can certainly say, from my perspective, there was probably one or two who, curried favour with certain people, and maybe did make their way up the ranks quicker than others. Well, doing that as doing that as well, mate. Yeah, but it's one
Mate,
of
I was
those, isn't
always
it?
in the
Like
shit.
you say, if the face fits,
Yeah,
and
but the thing
nobody's going
is,
to turn
Randy,
it down, are they? So
Randy, come on, think about me on the squadron, mate. I was always in the shit. It was always like, it was, mate, come on. There was no way in this world I was one of them. I'd like to think the lads didn't think I were anyway. Fucking hell.
no, well, I can only speak for myself, like, and I wouldn't have thought that, but
Mate, we was fucking, me and Stu
I
were
don't know,
throwing
Dave. I don't know,
fucking
like,
raids. Me and Stu were throwing raids on Sunny Bridge, man. Remember that? Mate, we turned
oh
the 12,
dear
we
me.
12 into a raid with sirens and everything. Can you not remember that? I was
Oh,
fucking epic.
I do miss. Like I say, mate, I do miss that guy. I really do. What a bloke. What a bloke. But anyway, yeah. So, like, say, you kind of touched on it. I was going to say, like, how did you deal with the shifting dynamics? But you kind of just said that you didn't really give a shit. You didn't
I
do
didn't
the
care what
old
anyone, mate,
no,
mate, at the end of the
no.
day, I mean, look, not a lot of people know this, right? And I'm going to tell you something about what I did on my XC3, right? So this is a story, legit, all right? And anyone out there can call me out on it. I'll just send them to a lad called Paddy, all right? So one of the seniors, I won't name names, had just come off his lead, right? And the tax sergeant at the time was a very good friend of mine, right? And the tax sergeant on the lead at the time would have failed the lead because somebody had left an LMG barrel in the ambush, right? So you now imagine now, right? I'm on the other side of the fucking training area, right? On my promotion course, in a farm, going through a handover takeover, and somebody says, "We've left the barrel," right? So I take it upon myself to go and borrow a Land Rover without anybody knowing, yeah? Drive halfway across the fucking training area, find the barrel, come back all the way across the training area, manage to get back into the farm without anybody knowing, hand the barrel to somebody who looks at me in pure shock and goes, "What?" And I'm going, "Doesn't matter." As Ginge Hopper is coming through the door to do handover and takeover, yeah, on this lead, right? You name me another bloke that would fucking put their self in a position like that
Yeah,
on a
can't,
promotion
mate.
court. And you can ask anyone. Ollie Blake, the rat that left the
I
fucking
hope you got your
LMG. That,
fucking I hope you got you a beer anyway.
oh, mate, he got me 2 cans of Coke and 2 Snicker bars, and I was more than happy. You know what it's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the little things, mate. The little things in it when you're
Mate,
going through stuff
Paddy,
like that.
you know, Paddy was the best looking bloke in the regiment, you know what I mean? So I couldn't let him down.
No, no.
Top shagger.
Oh, it's good, mate. It's good. Right,
But
so
that's,
that,
that's,
I
that,
know we've touched a bit on the. Go on.
yeah, go on.
No, I'm just going to move on a little bit there and just say, like,
Yeah, yeah, go for
we've
it, go for
touched
it.
on, yeah, like we've touched on, you being on tours and stuff like that, and we mentioned about 9/11, and now everything kicked off after that. What what did it feel like to you from going from pre to post? Because
Oh,
the
it was
world,
mental,
the
mate.
world was a very different place, wasn't it?
I mean, honestly, from 2004 to 2018, I can't really remember a lot. All I remember is sand,
Yeah.
quite literally, and people putting the wrong rounds down a 60 and shit like that. And it is what it is. Shit happens.
So what were you like first time you hit the desert? Then what was your like? What was your first tour, and what
Right,
were
so
your
my
initial
first tour
thoughts?
was Ali
Because
Al Salam, and I went out there on the Joint NBC regiment. So basically, they turned me into some sort of chemist, which obviously bode well for later on in life. Anyways, yeah, so I went out there with JNDCR. So I went out there with JNDCR. I went out there 3 times with them. Then I went out with 34. Went out there with 34. Uh, so I was, yeah, four tours in Aliyah. And it was weird, mate. It was like, I don't know, kind of a lot of the time you don't expect to see what you get, but at that point it wasn't kinetic. You know what I mean? We were in Ali Al Salam as part of a peacekeeping force to stop Saddam Hussein coming into Kuwait again, effectively. You know what I mean? We were just there as a, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I had a right laugh there. I mean, met some really nice American ladies and stuff like that. It, it was what
one of
it
the
was.
small perks.
Yeah, yeah. But it only really got real when I went to Afghan. And that was 2002, I think it was, my first tour in Afghan. Went straight into the APOD in Kabul. Um, and yeah, then you suddenly realise this shit's real. You've got fucking French Foreign Legion punching shit out of each other in a boxing ring. while you're trying to fucking do a handover takeover, you know what I mean? And it suddenly all becomes real, especially when people are handing you like physically handing you a hand grenade in the middle of the street when you're out on patrol and shit. You know, it's like, and then you see the trace there, then you hear the rounds, and then you know what I mean? And it suddenly becomes like, oh fucking hell, this is real, you know? And this is, I
Yeah,
think Afghan was a big wake up call for me. Um, yeah, that first tour in Afghan was a big wake up because I saw stuff there. You know, there was bits and pieces that went on. You know, that it was like, wake up, this is real. This isn't Ali Al Salem. This isn't fucking Captain Craig. Uh, this is we're in amongst it now. And yeah, from there on onwards, really, it was Afghan Iraq, Afghan Iraq, Afghan Iraq, then Iraq finished. I mean, fucking Iraq started and then finished. No, it was Iraq started, then Afghan, then the emphasis was put on Iraq, and then suddenly we were literally pulled out of Iraq and then put straight in Afghan, and then it was Afghan until 2017. You know what I mean? And it was just,
yeah.
mate, we were Telic babies. That's what we were, and that's what we're classed as. You know,
Mm.
when you talk to people, you know, later on in life and that, and they go, "Oh, when did you serve?" And oh God, sorry, mate, contact front. Um, yeah, when you talk to people and that, and they say, "Oh, when did you serve?" And you say, "Oh, I was a Herrick and Telic baby." The mood changes towards you, and I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but and it's that kind of,
To,
oh, so you were in
to be
when,
honest, like when yeah, whenever I've talked about stuff, it's been more recent than it has had over the last 15 years because, like I said, I separated myself from it, so I
yeah.
had no kind of interactions with people, so I've not really had
I
that,
mean,
I guess.
Mandy, if I'm, mate, bottom line up front, mate, with me is I'm fucked, mate. My head's all over the place. I can't, like most days and that, I don't know. I just can't get certain things out of my head and I don't understand why. And I've,
I
like,
don't. I mean,
I
I
just,
don't want to kind of. I'm no psychologist or therapist or anything like that, but like what I was only in for a few years. Like in comparison to yourself, like I didn't do it a long time at all, but every single day I think about stuff like that. Every single day,
I
and
can't
I
throw
can't
it.
say like you'll ever not. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever not get it. It's about kind of coping with it, isn't it? And
I mean, I'm in it, you
finding
know,
other kind of things to think about.
I mean, mate, I'll be honest, like, so after 24 years of madness, absolute madness, to then suddenly not be part
This
of the big green machine anymore, and you're on your own, and nobody's rang you, nobody's spoken to you. You've been told to go and sit on the couch because you've just had two operations done on your knees, left and right knee at the same time, so I couldn't even walk. Uh, I was in COVID. My head just went, mate, and it went so far.
yeah.
And this might be a bit of a shock, Monday, but it's the truth, mate. I ended up in a fucking homeless shelter, mate, in Scotland, and I become a crack addict. And because I didn't want to be
It was
here
an
anymore,
escape.
I was done, mate. I didn't want to be here
Yeah.
anymore
No, mate.
because
I get it. I get it.
I
It's
lost
sometimes
everything.
it's like I say, it's an escape.
I lost my world. I lost my family. I lost my job, everything. And I just didn't know what to do. I just did know. It's, yeah, I just feel like I got fucked over by the two biggest things that meant the most to me. Um, and if I'm honest, you know, I'm still surviving, not living yet. Um, but slowly but surely, you know, things in my life now are starting to change. Some things are starting to come good rather than I just, mate, my lads never let me down. My lads never ever let me down. Not everyone's like that, Mandy, and that was a big learning curve. No one's got your back, mate. And that was the
You
biggest
talk
thing for
about the
me.
civvy world, or
Yeah, mate. When I left, when I left, mate, I was too ashamed to talk to my men, and civvies didn't want to talk to me because they couldn't understand me. They couldn't understand my reasoning, my reactions, my verbal communication. But what do you expect, man? I was in the military for 24 years. Every day I was talking to somebody military, and we have a way of being able to separate bad. You know, we we suffer trauma and we laugh at it, and that's our mechanism.
yeah,
You know, uh, and I think that's a thing that's a trait that's taught, or a trait that's kind of punched into us a little bit when we're in the military, because you haven't got time to think. You know what I mean?
do you think it
Mate,
goes
I just
beyond
had
that,
a
the military though as well? Like you say, no,
yeah, mate.
like we talk about childhoods and stuff like that, and you mentioned some of the problems you had in yours, and it kind of goes beyond that, doesn't it? Like the military is a trauma in itself, and then we have
Oh,
trauma before
for
that as
sure.
well
I
that we
mean,
have
who
to
the
deal
fuck
with,
kicks off about
and so
empty
the
bog rolls?
no,
We
this is
do.
it, isn't it? It's perspective, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's a thing that we all do, and we all suffer in silence. And I think now, like what you've done, I've seen that interview that you did, and it was it was heartbreaking to watch, um, and to gauge and understand like what you have gone through and what you're going through.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Um,
nobody at the time, do they? They never, because we don't talk, and the only time we all talk is when we're pissed. And when we're pissed, we're usually
yeah,
knocking lumps out of some civvy or trying to get into some bird's knickers. And that's, and that's the truth, because we were blokes, we experienced stuff. We went places, we've done that. And it was, you know, luckily, for me, a lot of it was experience when I was married. So, when I went home, I had somebody there. But for you single lads and that, you had no one. You had each other. And because you had each other,
yeah.
you're all on the piss. So it it was hard, mate. And
It was a distraction. It wasn't a solution. It was a distraction.
no, absolutely.
Um,
But that distraction was
and
kind of accepted in a military manner. I
yeah,
think that was the way we
yeah.
dealt with it. And that's the way we kind of got taught to deal with it. No matter what
There was
anyone
nothing
says,
else. Yeah.
you know,
There was literally nothing else given to us. Like I after that tour, I don't remember any sort of support and
come on, mate,
or
decompression. We
recognition
were
of
given a
like any
shitload of
issues.
beer and told to chill out, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah, in a place nobody wanted to be. Yeah,
Exactly.
but like you say, you move on, and like when I left, I never really spoke about anything and bottled it up, and then went into my shell and stuff like that. And it's only really recently that I've like addressed it and stuff
See,
like that. And granted, I never went to the same place you did, but we all
oh,
deal
it's
with things
irrelevant.
in different
It's
ways,
irrelevant.
don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, do you know what I miss the most?
go on.
The bloke.
Yeah,
That's all I miss.
yeah. It was the biggest thing. Yeah,
I had my
biggest thing.
mates.
And then they're gone. Yeah, it was the toughest thing for me to cope with that, just because obviously, I mean, you were probably like you say, you had a couple of people from back home, but I had a bit of a bigger group, I suppose. But it's a completely different relationship, isn't it? And like you say
I
about
mean,
understanding, and when you speak to people, having any sort of recognition about what you're kind of going through, it's not there. So you are alone, and it's again,
I
we
mean,
go back to suffering in silence and stuff.
and it's hard because, like, some of your experience that you experienced in the military, for instance, that, you know, whether they're funny, whether they're sad, whether they're beyond complete fucking like absurd, because that was us lot. Uh, you can't sit there with a civilian and say that to them because they wouldn't understand it, or they'd look at you and think
No,
you're fucking weird, mate. And you're like, well, I'm not. In fact, I'm probably
no.
put together better than you are, but I've had to deal with X, Y, and Z, whereas you haven't, you know. Um, but that was our
Thing
choice
is,
as
like,
well.
I heard, yeah, yeah, I heard something the other day, and it was like people dealing with PTSD and whatnot, and it's saying that it's a normal response to an abnormal situation. Like, we're not programmed to deal with the situations we're put on as humans, but
Yeah.
we're in them situations because of the role that we chose to do. So it's a normal response to an abnormal
It's an
situation.
abnormal situation, but you're absolutely right in what you're saying there. But one thing I didn't ever expect to be doing was being sat on the fucking back of a helicopter for 3 weeks at a time, you know, dealing with catastrophic fucking injuries where you've got blokes coming on with no legs, no legs, one arm, and you're trying to keep these blokes alive while you go down to Kandahar or X, Y, and Z. I didn't join up to be a medic. I joined up to to help the medic have a job. You know what I mean? That's so
Yeah,
it was like suddenly I've now got a double hat as I mean, putting a bone drill into somebody and that. What the fuck? That's like surgical shit. You know what I mean? But I'm sat on the back of a fucking
yeah,
Chinook helicopter flying probably what 100, 150 feet above the ground at knots, 40 knots, whilst trying to, help with four casualties on the back of the helicopter. And you, you just do it because that's what we do. But
like you say,
there
you
was
revert
no,
back to doing as you're told, don't you? So,
yeah, and yeah. So, but Mandy, I need to go
how
for
did
a
that
wee.
come about, Dave? Then how did you end up doing that for so long?
Um, it just ended up being part of the rule, the routine that we got into. So
Right.
you'd go on work for a week or two, dependent on where you were in the cycle, because obviously we had cover for R and all that sort of stuff. So you may have found yourself covering an R&R slot on another section who have just come off, let's say, patrols and going on MERT, and you've just come off MERT. So you end up being on MERT for like 4 weeks or 2 weeks, depending on how many weeks you were on MERT for. So that's how the cycle used to
Yeah.
roll. And then they broke it down and they made it less. So you'd be like 4 days MERT, 4 days patrol, 4 days sangers, 4 days uh, whatever, rest or whatever it was, or how they worked it. So yeah, I made some amazing friends on there. Haley and Anne and, you know, some others that I can't really name, because they were on there doing stuff, triple three at the time. Um, you know, and yeah, you think about it and you go back and I thought to myself the other day, actually, now you've kind of brought that light. We were told to fill out a form every time we'd been on the shelf. And I can't remember where that where that where them all that paperwork went. Um, because it was a detailed copy of what we've just experienced, and we were writing this shit down. But I never had anybody come to me later on in life and say, "Oh, right, yeah, so when you were doing MERT, you witnessed all this. Well, I'm here to help you deal with that." So what was the point in me filling out a fucking piece of paper? So yeah, it's on.
Yeah. It's just reliving it again, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate.
Do you feel failed by the military after?
Oh, 1,000,000%, mate. That's why I'm suing them. They
Yeah.
diagnosed me with PTSD in 2010 and didn't do fuck all about it. That's Jen.
Why do you think there was a lack of recognition for that? Why did you think it was
Why?
just
Because
because you were who you were? And
I had choose up the yin yang and I could be used in any position. Mate, I was flip flop from squadrons 24/7, mate. I was like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I, but because I put myself out there and because I tried to be as professional as I could and gain the qualifications required. Once you've got them and you're good at it, well, everybody wants you. I mean, you know, again with Stu and Skibs and all that, mate, we got hammered. We were consistently used for this and used for that because we have desired qualifications. I mean, fuck me, I was a junk. I'd done my tracker, operational tracker course. I'd done all sorts. I was a OWS instructor. I was a fucking heavies instructor. I was all sorts. Do you know what I mean? And because we had that, we were consistently smashing it.
Yeah.
Is you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. It's like, say you're this, much heralded bloke, aren't you?
you're a
You're good
commodity,
for
mate. That's
publicity,
it.
aren't you? Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You're a
Which
commodity.
for you personally, it just must feel shit. But like you say, as a commodity to them, it's irrelevant, isn't it?
Well,
In
yeah.
a blunt way.
I
So
just
when you were diagnosed and you got out, was there any support at that point? Because obviously this is a lot later, and things are more recognised at that point. Was there anything?
mate,
Nothing.
nothing,
That is
nothing
crazy.
for a year,
That is
mate. For
crazy.
a year, mate. Nothing for a year. I laid on my cat. I had to go back into hospital because I caught MRSA and all that. It was just, mate, it was hellish. And I think that played a big part. And my boy, my oldest son was just, you know, I had that author, authoritarian
Authoritarian.
head on,
Yeah.
yeah, head on, uh, in a family environment. And I couldn't go anywhere. Literally couldn't go anywhere. So I think that had a lot of to play with the issues that I had with my oldest son. I mean, me and my oldest son are back on form now, like, which is good. My youngest son is just,
Yeah. Good
you
to
know,
hear.
he's amazing, Logan. Stu's godson. And he's twice the size of Stu, quite literally 6'3", man. He's a fucking
No, he's
uh,
only tiny though, isn't he, Stu?
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
hold that against him.
Uh, he always used to
No,
hang
it's good.
around with the big lads.
Must be a reason for that. Maybe security or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to hear that, Dave. Like, because you know, because you were kind of dragged out of the military. I know you were struggling, but you wasn't ready for it, I
I
guess, at the
wasn't
time.
ready.
Or
It wasn't my terms,
yeah, so you've been pulled out. Obviously, you mentioned about your family bearing the brunt of it. So for you to finally get over that and start rebuilding relationships with your sons,
I mean,
especially, like, is a
and
big
you
thing.
say there
So
about the rebuilding side of it. It was only until somebody introduced me to a guy called Mark Storer, great guy from On Course Foundation. Probably fucked that up for myself along the way somewhere, but he is a great guy, absolute legend, and I still love him. Uh, but I found On Course Foundation. I found Mark. Mark set me some goals. And I achieved them in quite quick succession because you know yourself, mate, and you're put back in that environment and you now feel part of something, an organization, and you've got buddies around you, or you've got people that you see regularly, et cetera, et cetera. You suddenly come out of that shell piece, don't you? Um,
yeah,
and yeah, it all started coming good around that. I was still at home. Um, and I ended up getting selected to go and represent Great Britain against the USA at golf, which I did in America. Uh,
is this the Simpson Cup?
Simpson Cup, yeah, mate, yeah. And mate, honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
mate, I will tell you something, right? So you imagine me, yeah, big fucking daft Dave, loud as the owls is. Obviously not so loud, quite quiet. And the last person in the world, mate, the last person in the world I expected to see, mate, was little fucking Richie, mate. And still now, I mean, it's like the hairs, mate. Just
Well,
stood there in the
I was going to
doorway,
say that
mate.
because obviously, yeah, I spoke with
Just
him. And he told me about the On Course Foundation. That's how I know about the Simpson Cup, and he told me all about it. And I never knew you were a part of it until I saw your interview. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's done wonders for him, hasn't it? And it's helped you along the way
Yeah,
as well, hasn't it? So,
I mean, yeah,
go on,
but
tell us
without a
about
doubt,
what that meeting, seeing him.
mate. I went from this fucking great big fucking brute walking around giving American shit to a pile of fucking tears, and to the point where I had I think he was what was he? He was like a 4-star American general, you know, uh, you know, consoling me because I was like, I thought I was seeing things, you know what I mean? I was like, what's he doing here? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and I just, mate, yeah, it was just amazing. But at the same time, so surreal because he was my boy, you know what I mean? He was like my little Richie, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
both Tottenham fans, you know, and I'll be honest, like, you're not meant to have your favourites, but you know, Richie was one of my favourites, him and Dinger. But it's like to then see him 17 years later, after going through everything and losing everything, to then seeing someone that meant a lot to me when I'm stood in America in a yeah, it was just phenomenal. And yeah, we still talk all the time now, all the time. Whereas before, I didn't really talk to Richie as much because I didn't know what to say again to Richie because I felt like I failed him. Because so yeah, it was surreal, mate. It was like one of them hallelujah moments. Do you know what I mean? I was like, wow. Uh, and if anything, it spurred me on a bit to make sure I did win. You know, because I didn't want to let Richie down because I've got one of my lads there. I can't look a knob in front of one of my
yeah,
lads. You know what I mean? So it was like, I mean, I love him. I love him to bits, and I can't wait to go out to the States to see his little kids and that. Honestly, he's a legend, absolute legend. Again, like Stu,
yeah. I like.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, I reconnected with Richie a couple of years ago now. Still not seen him because obviously with him being in the States, it's you know it's hard to do in it. But yeah, I mean, him and a few other blokes like you'll remember Brownie and you know
Brownie.
the
Yeah, I
lad
mean,
Steve Hayes and
mate, I speak to
yeah,
Brownie,
Steve Hayes and
little
yeah,
Stevie
good
A's,
lads and
mate. I remember him.
yeah.
I remember whenever somebody speak to Stevie, ask him, say, "Did Dave make you change a water buffalo?"
Mate, did Dave make you change a water buffalo?
Chase.
Is that Chase?
I
Oh
actually
right,
made him
all right.
chase a water buffalo in full rigged
What's
because he
going on?
said to me, "I reckon I could slap its off." So I was like, "Go on, then." And we've got it on video, mate. I've still got that on video somewhere.
Oh, brilliant. Send it to me.
So
Send it. Find it. Send it to me.
I
I'll
will
put it
try
on
and find
this.
it, yeah, and I'll send it you.
Yeah, do it. Do it. So yeah, talking about the On Course Foundation. Are you still a part of that?
Uh, I am.
Is that who you're
I'm on
doing
the
the
fringes
caddy
at
the
the
caddying
moment.
through?
No, so the caddying was done through on course, obviously.
What about On Course
I
Rugby?
think we were talking about on course and Richie and that, and then caddy school. So yeah, so the caddy school for soldiers come about through on course foundation, and it was surreal, man. And it couldn't have come at the right. Mate, it was just like I was at my lowest, and I'll be honest, I was probably at the lowest I've ever been. Um, and I shouldn't have been doing some of the stuff that I was. I mean, of a, I got dragged out of somewhere by a very, very good friend, um, who gave me a bit of a slap and told me to get a grip. And if it wasn't for that, unfortunately, I can't name him, but, that one individual, if he hadn't have done what he'd done at that point, I don't think, I think I was at the point of no return, mate. I was just, I was a full on delinquent, mate. I didn't
Was
care
this
about
at the point,
anybody.
like you say? Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it at
I
the
was in,
point with your addiction and stuff like that?
yeah, mate, yeah. And, because I didn't have anything else and it was easy. Do you know what I mean? It was easy and it was an escape. I didn't have to think about anything anymore because I couldn't. You know what I mean? And it was, it was wrong, and I know that. Um, I- it's like I say to my lass, all I want is a big L-shaped kitchen with some bifold doors at the bottom, right, with a big telly on the wall so I can watch some football on a Saturday, and a man shed where I can escape to. Give me that, and I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want. That's
just
all I
don't
want
put
in.
Tottenham on.
Hey, shut it.
No, I get that, mate. I get that, and it's
um,
you
but
know,
the
like you
caddy
said
school,
earlier, the simple things, isn't it?
and it is the simple things because it's things that we've never had. Do you know? Does that make sense?
Mm.
The
Yeah, yeah,
calm, the
yeah,
quiet, the 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 fact that you don't have to sit here and be like a meerkat. Do you know what I mean? You can just naturally relax and let yourself go. Um, and the caddy school, yeah, I'm sure it was the best thing I ever done. I mean, I met some amazing people from all walks of life. I've got mates out in the States now that would, you know, they drop everything for me tomorrow. And that sounds mad considering I never knew them before that. But they've gone through what I've gone through. So they get it as well as I get it.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
when we chat, it's not a chat, it's like a therapy session. Do you know what I mean? Because we talk about it's well, no, it's not. It is. It's like a mates chat, like me and you. But the way the conversation goes is you end up talking about what's happened in the past few weeks and how you dealt with it, and you know what I mean, and you're kind of teaching each other. Does that make sense?
yeah. Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Because it's a completely different walk of life. I mean, I've got some pals that now. I mean, yeah, I don't know what I'd do without them. One of them's an ex-rock mate, believe it or not. Pete Wood, what a man, what an absolute mate. That guy there, uh, him and Dom. You know, Dom was in Northern Ireland. He got injured. He got blown up on BCP1, I think it was, across McGlen. Uh, and Pete had an issue in Iraq. So they're my sounding board. You know what I mean? Because they didn't know me when I was in, but I can relate. You know what I mean? So because they can relate from incidents they've been in, and obviously they've grown up and gone through the process and come out the other end, they become like not so much a sponsor because I'm not an alky, but they do.
kind of
Um,
like mentors.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Dom's like the father element who just shouts squares and tells you off, whereas Pete's like your big uncle. You know what I mean? He's like, I'll be honest, Pete's like my dad, um, because he'll tell me to shut up, being a wally, and get on with it. You know, and not in a way that we were told in the military, but in a gentler sort of fatherly figure. And Adam Partridge, you know Adam. He lives across the road from you. Adam lives in well, just outside Macclesfield. But and those three, between them three, and some, obviously some other people through the way, you know, through the caddy school, etc. I mean, I can Dave Scott. Um, I love it, mate. Being on the fairway, every day's different, right? When you go to the golf
Yeah,
course, you don't know what golfer you're getting, yeah? Now, Mandy, you know me, I'm good at my job. And because I'm good at my job, now I'm getting recommendations and I'm getting people recommending me to their mates in America that are coming over here to play golf. And they ring up months in advance and say, well, I want Dave Hayden. You know what I mean? And that's just what
yeah,
we
yeah,
do because we're professional at, oh, no, mate, I'm done. We're professional at what we do. So, and like I said to you, the social chameleon piece, you know? So, it, it
you can adapt to whoever you come
it's
across.
easier, you know. And because I've got life experience, um, it's easy to chat and it's easy to hold their interest for 18 holes. So and it's a process, mate. It's like everything. It's like cleaning a rifle. You know what I mean? It's like you go through a process, and you do that with the golfer. And the better you are as a caddy, the better their golf is. So you can see a natural, you know what I mean? So you get
Yeah,
personal,
you can see your input in their
yeah,
performance
yeah,
in a
yeah.
similar way you could
So
as a
as
corporal
an
with your lads.
instructor, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's
Mm.
so it is, yeah. And I mean, like, I've caddied for family of Donald Trump. I've caddied for professional footballers. I've caddied for famous basketballers. It's madness. I've got numbers for people in my phone, mate, that own multi-million-pound businesses. I'm a fucking lunatic. You know what I mean?
Like you say
It's
though, it
mad.
opens those doors, doesn't it? And it's the sport that it is. With it being so popular, he's
Oh yeah, for
gonna
sure,
have
for
that
sure.
kind of
Yeah,
opportunity in it. But
yeah.
I'm over the moon that you found something that you can focus on like that because
It's not right though. I
like you
mean,
say
I'm
with the
still not
struggles of
right.
how you no no and you never you'll probably never be perfect, will you? You're gonna battle every day, but it's step by step in it, getting things a bit
Yeah,
easier, hopefully. And
I,
this is helping you. So
and stuff like this, because mate, we fought in an asymmetrical battle space for fucking years. We didn't know what direction it was coming from. We didn't know who it was coming from. And then suddenly you turned out into an environment where you just can't make it. You can't. I don't understand this. What? There's a process. Why haven't you gone through the process? You know what I mean? Well, we don't do that.
yeah.
Well, what do you mean you don't do that? How did you get that to work then? You know what I mean? Well, we just did it our way. And you're like, well, where's that written down? You know what I mean? Like, because for us, we were that rigid on the way that we went about our business because, like I said to you, at the end of it, it was a chance you weren't bringing people over, Um, and I think that's people in City Street just maybe don't understand that. And this, what we're doing now is trying to explain that and trying to get people in that mindset of, well, actually, you know, without these guys and the girls, where would we be? Um, and I think, yeah, I think,
Well, anyway,
yeah, if anything,
on a lighter note, yeah, we'll talk about and we'll come to wrap it up soon, but
yeah, I'm on
we'll talk about
7%.
what's next and oh right, well, very quickly then, very quickly. What's next for you, Dave? What you talked about a book
Um,
earlier? What's that going to be
yeah,
about?
so basically, uh, I was sat with some friends at the time and they said, fuck me, Dave, you should write a book. Some of the stuff that you've done, some of the places you've been, the situations you've been in, the way that your family life has gone, et cetera, et cetera. How are you even here? How are you even here? How have you not just melted? Why don't you write a book? And I was like, really? I'm just me. I'm Dave. You know what I mean? And they were like, yeah, but Dave, you don't get it. You're a different Dave. You know what I mean? So I thought, fuck it. And at the time, the Caddy School for Soldiers, they commissioned a guy in America. So the Kohler Group from Wisconsin, that's who pays for it. They commissioned a guy to write a book about Caddy School for Soldiers. And there's me and a Navy SEAL who are pretty much the content. Um, and then he got in contact and said, do you know what? I'll write your book. So I was like, oh, okay. So I've just sent him loads of stuff. So that's in the pipeline. There's a guy on tour now called Mike Brown. He's on the Clutch tour. Amazing guy. Ex-army, lost his leg, and he's now a professional golfer playing against non-disabled professional golfers, mate. You know, and then yeah, hopefully well, a couple of events this year I'm going to be caddying in for him on the Clutch Pro Tour. and then yeah, just up onwards and upwards. At the moment, I'm
Yeah.
still in a place where things can get a whole lot better still. And I've found a person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Whether she thinks that the same is different, but
Fingers
yeah.
crossed.
So it's like yeah, innit? But the future looks good as long as I stay on the right path. Um,
Yeah.
but again, every day's different. I could wake up in the morning and I've had a shit nightmare about Ted or about Lip or whatever, and I miss Lip so much. I really miss Lip. I mean, what a lad he was. Um,
Yeah.
but do you know what,
I
mate? I
think
wouldn't change it for the
Stino
world.
mentioned a few stories about Lip, and yeah, like you say, real character, good lad, and
He used to scare the
they're
shit
all
out of me, especially when he'd done his shit. So,
well, we
but,
won't get into that. We better not get into that. Well, no, they're missed, aren't they? And like I say, they're never forgotten. So we talk about them, we think about them every day, and it's shit, and we live with them. But the legacy lives on, and they won't be forgotten. They won't
I
be
mean,
forgotten. But
you
anyway,
know,
so your kids as well. How are things with your kids, mate? You
yeah, my
say that
son.
they're progressing, they're
So
getting better.
my oldest son is now a music artist. He's on Spotify. Bit of a
Nice, nice.
plug for Little Doubt. That's his name, Little Doubt. And he's currently got a tune out in the charts called Nile Ranger. So if you put Nile Ranger,
I'll give it a look.
Nile
Niall,
Ranger,
is that what it is?
into
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Spotify.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Spotify. That's my son. My youngest,
Right, nice.
Logan, 6'3", built like a brick, and he applied for the Royal. Well, he actually won a scholarship to America playing rugby, but he doesn't want to go.
Oh,
He wants
nice.
to be an officer in the Royal Marines.
Right, fair enough. Fair enough.
So he applied for the
You
Royal
backing that?
Marines. Oh yeah, why not? Fuck it. That means we've
Yeah.
had all three services.
Fair play,
So my
mate.
dad
Fair
was in
play.
the
Like you say,
army.
if
I
you've
was
got
in
to
the RAF.
support them, haven't you? Got to support them.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And he's my rock, mate. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he's a good boy.
I mean, like I say, day to day in it, and you're working through everything, and I'm really pleased. You kind of like you say you're on the right path. Kids are
Well,
good.
mate, from,
Mrs. Fingers crossed. Job's good.
from where I was five
Life's
years
good.
ago,
So look
mate,
at it that way, mate. Look at that
life's
way.
good.
Yeah.
Life's good.
Yeah.
And it can only get better.
Day to day, mate.
And
Day
and,
to
and the
day.
more
Yeah,
and the
exactly. Yeah.
more and the more that I go on, the more I'm starting to like be able to talk to people that there's three people: Stu, Rob Williams, and another that I don't know what to say to them. I don't know what
Just
to say
building
to them.
yourself up. Well, Dave, my only advice is, and it's just pick up the phone and just say hello. How are you doing? And it'll go from there, mate. I've spoke to people since I started this that I've not spoken to in years. It's nervy. You hold this anxiety in you and all that kind of thing. Simplest thing is it's not the simplest thing, but you pick up the phone, say hello, how are you, and it flows, mate. Honestly, it just flows.
I hope
That's
so.
my
I
that's
hope so.
my thing. I will try and give to you. Just try and just pick up the phone, maybe tomorrow, in the next day, build it up, say hello, and go from there. You can send a text message, send a voice note. Start with a
I
voice
know.
note, something like that,
That's a good idea,
and just
actually. I never thought
step
of
by step in it, mate. Step by step. But anyway,
that.
we'll
Those are
wrap it up there, mate. You've got to go. You've got probably 1% left, and I'll just
you're getting there.
say thank you so much, mate. For yeah,
No, hey,
thanks for the
Mandy, if you
time,
need
and
me on, again to discuss anything, mate, and I mean like
yeah,
for instance, if you want to talk in depth about how I ended up in a fucking homeless shelter and addicted and managed to fucking
yeah.
drag myself out of the shit, etc., then if it helps anyone else, then 1,000,000%. But it's hard work, mate. It's hard. I mean, I've got
No,
to a
I
point
get
where
it.
I
I
can
get it.
say no if I want to. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mate, I'll
um,
be in touch. Yeah, I'll be in touch. We'll we can dig deeper if you want to go down that route. Then yeah, I'll
yeah, mate,
definitely make the time
anything
for you. Um,
to gain you a following,
uh,
if anything,
well, I mean, it's
just none of
recognition
that.
for people's problems as well, isn't it? So
Hear that?
sorry, mate. I thought you'd say something. No, I missed it. I missed it.
I just said none of that.
No, no,
Oh,
no, definitely not. Definitely not. But no,
so
yeah, like I say, Dave, thanks so much, mate. And yeah, actually, yeah, I live about 2 minutes away from Royal Lytham. So I don't know if you do a bit of touring with your caddying or anything like that. But if
yeah,
ever you're
yeah.
in a neck of my woods, give
Roll
us a
some
shout.
rhythm.
Give us a shout, and we'll pop up. Royal Lytham, yeah, Royal Lytham St Anne's, yeah. In fact, I think the women's opens here this year. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
maybe
played.
around
Yeah,
my neck of the woods.
yeah, man. Yeah, I'll drop in.
Yeah, give us a shout. Yeah,
So
yeah. All right,
anyway,
mate.
you look after
Right, I'll leave
yourself,
it
mate.
there then.
Take
So
care.
yeah, you too, mate. We'll stay in
Good
touch.
to
All right.
speak, mate. You take care, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, Dave. Take care, mate. Take care. I'll see you in a bit.
Bye, mate.